So your purpose is getting an upgrade. Let's talk about it. One of the things that's coming through right now is that the way of healing is changing. And the reason that it's changing is because the world has become more fluid. We have had some timeline shifts, some energy has shifted, and everything is moving towards collective consciousness. And what I mean by this is not necessarily hive mind, but it's things being less concrete. It's things being more in flow. And so one of the things that is really coming through right now is the way that we heal is totally being shifted. So we're moving towards seeing something that when I was in grad school, that everyone is whole. And I've always operated this way as a practitioner. Actually, healing has been the mind letting go. And now it's time to hold spaces where people are seen as whole already, that energy is just being put back into balance, that the answers are within. We can't go from healing to wholeness without integration. So there are still people that are going to need to process, that are going to need to talk about their experiences, that are going to need to move through things. And it doesn't mean that like all of a sudden your role is obsolete, but what I'm hearing is it's a shift in how you see this work. And so it may be holding space for people to be the experts of themselves. So starting to ask questions, starting to guide them to the answer being within. And so with that, the purpose of healers, if you've been one or an energy worker, all of these things, is to start teaching people how to do these things for themselves, because we're not special snowflakes. We are just the first wave of people that are moving through this energy and are actually experiencing New Earth. And so with this, how you hold a space, how you speak to people, and the more, like I had this with my mom personally, because she was my most challenging person. I just had to stop expecting her to be different. And that led to a sense of wholeness. That led to accepting exactly where she is and not needing it to be different, not needing it to change. That doesn't mean it won't, but you have to give them space to be exactly who they are. And when you stop explaining, when you stop trying to change everything, then sometimes things start to shift. When your mind shifts, your reality shifts. So starting to step into more of intuitive living versus trying to solve problems here. So any overactivity in your mind or any of your clients or anyone you're working with is something that is going to be a big theme. You're being asked to come home to your center and your intuition. So one of the things that I've been guided to do recently is I just hear like hit the road, and I don't turn on my GPS because the destination is not revealed. I literally follow my intuition, and one time I ended up in the coast, the other time I ended up in Portland, and it's like you will start having circumstances or time gets really interesting, and that you're just guided to go somewhere, and you don't have to know the reason, you just have to trust. And so likely this will start happening in multiple ways in your life. So you start, depending on your own center of gravity, your own intuition, not having the mind solve things. The mind is for survival. And when we start talking about mind-heart coherence, I really think that it leans a lot more towards intuition, because coming into oneness, think about like everything we know coming from the cloud versus it being stored in our brain. So it's like as we come into oneness, it will feel a lot more like the cloud than it will feel like you grinding and trying to figure out something in the mind. And the last thing I'm being guided to say is whimsy, play, dopamine dressing. These aren't trends. These are actually people's inner child being integrated, because there is no new earth without the play. And so something I experienced yesterday was actually my 8-year-old still had pieces that needed to be integrated and come home. And whether they go back to the light or they're integrated and like I see it as like melting in your heart space, what I found is the last piece that I really needed to shift, what my body has been holding, what my weight has been about, isn't actually about anything biological as much as it was I was holding collective grief. I was holding grief for my line. I was holding grief about all the times since really early on, 5 or 6, that I had been fat shamed, that I had been betrayed by people that were close to me, especially women. And so a lot of the sisterhood wound comes from some of these early experiences. You may have a situation where you compare it to a past life or persecution wounds or whatever it might be, and that's totally okay. Soul retrieval is part of what I've done in this lifetime for clients. Don't have to dumpster dive anymore and heal. You have something you're trying to solve in the mind, then ask to be shown its source, ask to be shown the root, ask to be shown how to work with this energy, and you will be shown. And literally, I was setting up my altar and cleaning it off yesterday and moving stuff around, and all of a sudden it just all came to me. It was all shown to me. And I don't think this is special. I don't think that it's necessarily unique. I think that this will become the way that things happen. So guiding people that they are whole, guiding people that the answers are within, guiding just to get out of the mode of thinking and get into the mode of receiving. And that's what intuition is. So I love you all so much.